But one who acts from the state of true Chaitanya, there is no resulting karma whatsoever. One is beyond karma regardless of whether the consequences be good, bad, or neutral. And that when one takes the action from the space and place of their own embodied truth, they themselves have no experience of the consequences other than maybe knowing and recognizing it occurring. They are untouched by it, like a lotus leaf that doesn't get wet even in the midst of water. It is this ability to watch the expression of it and not come back and say, oh, that didn't go well, or I didn't do good, or I was too small, or I'm not listening, or whatever it may be. All the judgment and evaluations are gone. They just disappear. You walk away from doing that action, there's nothing, no residue. That's evidence that in that moment, one of two things happen. It's evidence of one of two things. You're free or you're deluded. It could be both. It's always good to recognize where we obscure ourselves, where the ego still lays claim, even when we're on the spiritual path and we're doing the good thing. Because the ego will claim the good thing. Or choosing to do the bad thing. The ego will claim that. That's where you defeat yourself, is when you get overtaken and then you own it as you're no good. You didn't do it good enough. You're not spiritual. You're fucked. Always been fucked. I'm fucked now and I'll be fucked tomorrow. That's claiming the effects and empowering through your thought, through your feeling, that structure. And what do you do when you're in that state? Well, you look to get rid of it. So then all those strategies of blaming or accusing or acting out or resisting or rebelling or opposing get to come up as a substitute from actually experiencing yourself as the cause of what's arising. You're not fucked. You're blessed. Can you get that? Can you hold that? Can you imagine that even in your imaginings, along with all your other imaginings? You could put that in, well, maybe I could be that supreme principle here only for the purpose of manifesting love and truth. Those thoughts, those attentions actually are aligned with the true purpose. Out of the imaginings then comes a capacity to recognize that possibility of where it doesn't work and where it might work. Where it could come into existence and where it's not yet in existence. It's all useful. It all can serve if you can find that place within yourself. That inner quality of being here, now, this. In those moments, it's pure consciousness acting. You probably don't even notice you're doing it until you come out of the domain of your awareness into the domain of your experience. When you enter the domain of experience, you can feel it happening, the time it's happening. In the awareness, you'll feel expanded and maybe disembodied. And it'll all be good, and you'll be in the ethereal planes. It'll be light everywhere. But it won't be able to land because you're not there in the fullness of it in your body. And we're going to talk about how important the body is in the landing part, because it's a direct experience. When you are consciousness speaking, you have a direct experience of its truth. Gita says, in this 10th chapter, it says, or in the 9th chapter, let me teach you the knowledge of all knowledge, the royal knowledge. It'll be your own direct experience. Your direct knowing. These will accumulate, and you'll become able to know the greater truth that is yet to be revealed. And any who doubt their own experience becomes a victim of that doubt, and they lose their way. If you don't know how to make a distinction between the spiritual truth of you and the truth of your ego, then you too will lose your way. You will too be taken over, often at the moment of a transition, moment at a critical threshold, where the ego is doing everything it can in any subterranean level of itself to defeat you from going through that transition. It's the eye of a needle. It's a place it never wants to go, and often trips and falls into it without knowing it did. Because that's the only way you can go beyond ego. Trick it. Something to learn about your ego. Some parts of your ego you can't convince. Some part of your ego is so entrenched with your ancestral karma and your particular unwillingness or incapacity to meet it that you have to trick it. You can't defeat it. You can't battle it to kill it because that'll feed it. It knows how to convert that negative nectar into a secret strategy for down the road. Don't diminish the cleverness of the darker subterranean aspects of you, because they're not yours. They come from the subtle domains, high and low. And they are the place where the gods and the demons and the Asuras pull the strings of the human beings from those subterranean places in yourself. And they're the ones that are convincing you that the truth is untruth, and that untruth is truth. And they come and contaminate your mind, your emotional body, your physical body, convincing you that this isn't right, shouldn't be happening. Activating primal fear adaptation structures. Because right there in the cells of the body. Learning to master all of those domains, boy, that's not easy.